Yeah, the biggest impact that not having enough labor has been the loss of product in the field. We've experienced losses at periods of time that have cost us, between $10,000 and $100,000, in any given week. And this has really impacted us the most because of the loss of the product. Of course, the revenue for growing the product and then the profit potential on that product have been the biggest losses. The other thing is that it's driven up labor costs. We've gone up 50 to 75 cents over the last year, and probably another 50 to 25 cents the year before. And so that's all adding to our cost of production, and that's what's really impacted it. And we don't have the consistency to supply our customers as well. So those are probably the three biggest impacts that this labor shortage has caused. And there's a host of other issues as well that have been mounting and costing growers money. I believe that a good solution to this current labor shortage would be a program that was implemented by the United States government that would allow for Mexican-born citizens to live and work in the United States and be able to return to their home country anytime that they wished without any kind of a pathway to citizenship, which I don't think is required and is up to the individual. If they would like to become a citizen, then they can become a citizen, but it's better to make that an individual choice and not a requirement. Well, the biggest issue is that most U.S. citizens don't understand that they won't do any of the jobs that we have available for these foreign-born workers to do. U.S. citizens basically won't do this work, so the only solution is to have a guest worker workforce come in and do it. Otherwise, the entire ag industry will move and is moving to Mexico. There's a big chunk of it that has already moved there and will continue to move down there as long as this restriction remains in place.
Person.
So for us, it's affected basically the turnover. So we've had a bunch of new people that have gotten hired, and we have to spend money and effort training them. Some of them come from a different field, like strawberries per se, and aren't as familiar with all the rules and regulations for like the leafy greens, having to wear personal protective equipment like aprons, gloves, hairnets, sleeves. So it's changing a culture from one area of agriculture into another. And for us, people paying more and more to try and get employees have caused us to lose employees. People that have worked for us since like 2004 basically quit and had all this training with us and a good reputation to go to work for someone else.
That's good.
So I feel that the employees think that they have the upper hand at this point, and instead of being more compliant and following rules, they're being more disrespectful to management and thinking that they call the shots. So it's a different attitude and mentality, that if we try to enforce a rule or discipline someone, they just up and quit and go to work for someone else.
Yes.
So I really do feel that there has to be some sort of immigration law that will allow certain number of immigrants to work legally in this country, because obviously a lot of legalized people here don't want to do this type of job. So hopefully there is a plan for some work visa for a certain amount of employees to come and do the jobs here. So I really do feel that the overall picture will be that in the long run, people will have to pay a lot more money for product, because not everything's going to be able to be harvested because there's not going to be enough people to do it. And farmers will lose a lot of their product. And we're going to try and do the best that we can with what we have here, but it's going to be more costly for all of us.
I think it's because the administration has come down harder on the amount of illegal immigrants that are within California. They're starting to raise the budget for how much enforcement they want to put on the border in order to shut it down, which I think is a very conservative agenda, and it's propagated by the fact that people don't understand where their food comes from, and they don't understand how much America depends on the amount of illegal labor that exists within the country. And if that political agenda continues to be successful, then we'll continue to see this labor shortage. So my job entails finding crews and organizing a schedule based on how much broccoli I have. So the amount of broccoli I have on a regular basis is supposed to be consistent, but due to the weather and other factors, it is not to bunch up or slow down at any given time. And when that happens, you need a large amount of labor in a short period of time. Sometimes you don't need any at all. And before, you were able to find that labor. Nowadays, it's impossible. If everyone has a bunch of products, there's not enough labor in the area, not enough people in the area. Thing is that if the people that are currently here should be able to have some sort of visa based on the fact that they've been working a certain amount of time, and a well thought out, well planned, but simple worker program, worker exchange program for Mexico is really necessary, because the amount of people that are here that would like to be able to go back and forth is extremely high. But once they shut the border down, they don't just shut people from getting in, they shut people from going back as well. Well, they don't really shut people from going back, they shut people from going back because they can't get back in. So we've got all these people here that if you gave them some sort of, not political amnesty, but ability to move freely about our country without worrying about the laws and regulations, you'd have a much more productive workforce. And that just requires people changing their minds, basically. If the shortage continues or gets any worse than it already is, then you will see a few things happen. The first will be the decline of how much we're able to produce, and the increase of how much we have to pay the people that are here, which can result in two things. Once the pay goes up enough, you start bringing in people from the city, more people that are actually legal immigrants or legal citizens. But once that pay wage gets high enough, you'll see mechanization, or what is more likely is that you'll end up seeing the outsourcing of farming.